topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Well, hello, folks. Welcome to Ask the Experts. Steve will be rejoining us shortly. And while we wait for Steve, we are going to bring on the guests we have today, and I'm going to let them tell you about themselves. I would like to welcome Laura and Angela to the show. Hi, ladies. How are y'all doing today?
Good. How are you?
Well, a little shocked, but what can we do?
Good morning, Sophia. Happy Monday.
It's actually Rebel, and it is a very happy Monday. Oh, so ladies, I've seen you guys on the show before, and I want to welcome you guys back. I know there is tons of things to tell everybody while we get Steve back on. So let's see. Y'all tell us about, I'm so sorry. Tell us about your
background.
Firm.
We could do that. Well,
are you there?
We'll talk, Lauren.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm Angela Zervos, one of the partners at Zervos and Calta. We practice in the area of personal injury law, and Lauren and I have been practicing lawyers, my goodness, myself since early 97. Lauren, I think since what, 92?
92.
92. We are trial attorneys, and we focus exclusively on representing only those injured as the result of the negligence of another, which would include perhaps a car accident, a motorcycle accident, a slip and fall or a trip and fall, some products liability cases, dog bite cases, wrongful death cases, anything that falls within the purview of being personally injured. We started our own law firm back in early 2017, and we are able to practice and handle any case anywhere in the entire state of Florida. Lauren?
So as Angela stated, oh, hey, Steve.
Crazy. Go ahead.
You have some computer issues this morning?
You know what? This is why a lot of people do a tape show, and they don't realize all that goes on behind the scenes, but I'm here.
Glad to have you.
I have this great monologue to open up with for you two, because I think you're such incredible personal injury attorneys. And then this happened. I was like, well, they're going to love this one.
Well, go ahead. Do the monologue anyway. I want to hear it.
Okay. You know, we are inundated by commercials by personal injury attorneys. And I got to tell you, I've been doing this for 12 years. And I've learned who the good ones are and who the ones that aren't so great. And I got to tell you that when you have a firm like yours, it is that all you do is personal injury law. I'm going to tell you that right there gives you 4 stars. Because believe it or not every firm just handles one area of law. And they have this shingle out there. They do bankruptcy, do criminal law, but you guys just do personal injury law. And I have learned that makes such a big difference. So I want to welcome you because I know that we've got two of the greatest personal injury attorneys in the state of Florida. And it's just such a great feeling knowing that you're recommending to your listening audience two great attorneys. So welcome.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you very much.
Lauren, don't you dare get the big head.
No, I won't. I promise. Big hair,
So-
not big head.
So, you know what? I don't know because I have never asked you this before, but we're in December. This is the holiday season. Are there more auto accidents in the month of December than other months or no?
I don't know if it's so much in the month of December as much as it is in the wintertime. The wintertime, we see a lot more accidents because of all the snowbirds that are here. They're looking to escape from, snow blizzards and freezing weather, and they come down to Florida for 4 to 6 months, and it certainly fills the roadways, if you will, more so than otherwise. And we do see an increase in accidents during those months.
We just got a text message, someone who was texting us for your last show that I didn't get to their question, but they wanted to know when you're in an auto accident, do you contact an attorney first or the doctor first?
I'll answer that one. I think that Lauren and I have always taken the position that your health is always most important, and you should consult with a doctor first before you speak with an attorney. Even though you may be, people who are involved in a car accident, it may be their first time where they're involved in one where they actually are hurt and they're confused and they really don't know the process and they want to reach out to an attorney first. Lauren and I believe that it's best if they contact a doctor, they go see a doctor right away. Because quite honestly, the insurance companies, that's one of the first things that they look at is, did the lawyer reach out first to the insurance company on behalf of the person who was injured? Did the person go see an attorney before they went to a doctor? Because they make a big deal about that, as if the person who was involved in a car accident did something wrong by reaching out to an attorney. So Lauren and I, it has always been our recommendation: get to the urgent care, go to an ER if you feel that it's bad enough, get looked at, because that's obviously most important. And then reach out to an attorney, whether it's, right after that on the same day or the next morning. That's, I think, the best way to handle it.
What about going to court if you're in an auto accident? Do you normally have to go to court?
The majority of cases, Steve, don't ever go to court, although we have seen an increase since March of this past year when the House bill on tort reform was passed. There has been a significant increase in the amount of cases that we have filed with the courts. Filing with the courts doesn't necessarily mean it's going to see a jury. There's a lot of opportunity to settle between the time you file a lawsuit and the time you actually go to trial and present your case in front of a jury. But I would say, and I think Angela would agree with me, that the majority of cases wind up settling without being litigated. But that doesn't mean that you don't prepare your case as if it's going to be litigated from day one, which is something that we do from the time the client comes in. We prepare them and the case as if it's going to trial, because that does make a significant difference in the outcome of any recovery that you ultimately wind up getting.
I just got another text in. They want to know, is it based on who blinks first on the court steps if it gets that far?
Who blinks first?
I think they're saying, do many of your cases get finalized on the steps of the court, like the day of?
I don't think that that happens a whole lot. I think that when you get within, a week of the trial date, if it doesn't settle before that, chances are it's not going to settle. I will tell you that just to what Lauren was talking about a few minutes ago, that the majority of cases will not get in front of a jury. That holds true for lawyers who have fought the fight before. Lawyers who have been to trial, lawyers who have gotten successful verdicts. In my 20-something years of trying cases, I've been undefeated for the last 20 in a courtroom. And a lot of those verdicts against the insurance companies were verdicts that exceeded the amount of insurance coverage that existed at the time. And so when I file a lawsuit in a case, these insurance companies, all of them, I don't care if it's Nationwide, State Farm, Geico, Allstate, I've taken all of them to trial and I've beat them all. They all know that I'll do it again. And so there's no bluffing with Zervos and Calta. You're not, we're not bluffing. If we file a lawsuit and, we're going to get it ready to go to trial, there is no bluffing. There's no, okay, we're going to make them think we're going to go. They know we're going to go. So it becomes a matter of risk assessment. Does the insurance company want to take the risk on getting pounded and pummeled with a jury, of my client's peers? And most of the time they come back and say, we're just going to settle with these attorneys. We don't want to go all the way to trial. But I don't think it happens days before or the morning of trial. Usually happens way before that, because trials are expensive. The insurance companies don't want to waste money when they know that they really should be settling.
But it can happen after everyone presents their case. We present our case, the defense presents their case, and they figured it didn't go too well for them before the jury comes out. There have been offers to settle before a jury verdict returns, because they know they got their butts beat.
Is it always a jury trial?
Yeah, it's always a jury trial.
Florida it is.
Okay. What kind of court do you go? Are there auto accident courts? Judges?
No, it's circuit civil. It's based on the amount that you're ultimately looking to sue for. So if it's over $50,000, it goes into circuit civil.
We get a lot of questions, people wanting to know, what if they're in an accident and the other party does not have enough insurance, or they're not even insured at all? What happens in that case?
That's
one of Angela's favorite topic.
Yeah, that's what we see, that unfortunately far too frequently, and it's always a sad situation. Florida is one of, I would say, I think it's 6 or 7 states within the continental U.S. that does not require its drivers to carry liability coverage, or also what's called bodily injury liability. And so because it's not required, you've got a lot of people who are saying, well, if I don't need it to drive my car, then I don't want to pay for it. So I don't put it on my insurance. And then unfortunately, those people will cause an accident, and then the person who's injured will go to an attorney like Lauren and ourselves, and we would reach out to that person's insurance company only to find that they don't have bodily injury. And so, most of the time we'll tell the client, they don't have any insurance to go after. And if they can't really afford to buy that kind of coverage, the chances are of suing them personally is going to be just, a moot point, because they don't have anything for us to go after. So it's so important for our clients and everybody, I think, to purchase what's called uninsured motorist coverage through their own policy. And that's the insurance that protects you and gives you some coverage if you are injured by somebody who doesn't have insurance.
What does that mean, some coverage?
Well, They don't have, well, you can have, if somebody buys liability coverage and they buy the minimum that's out there, which is usually a $10,000 policy, but you're hurt and your case is worth far more than the 10,000, you could actually make a claim against your insurance for what's called the uninsured motorist coverage. It's also called underinsured. So it kicks in when you have an injury claim that's worth more than the at-fault driver's coverage, or it kicks in if the at-fault driver has no liability coverage. It's just probably the best insurance that you can buy. It's definitely worth the extra premium that you're going to pay because it protects you and everybody in your house and anybody in your car.
I had thought about both of you a couple weeks ago. I was backing up. I don't even think it registered. I don't even think it was 1 mile an hour. And a car must have pulled up right behind me and I hit it. And I mean, I didn't even feel a jolt at all. And I got out of the car and first thing I looked at was their front end, and it had so many chips in it, paint chips. And this guy tried to tell the police officer that all those chips were from me hitting him. And I guess the point I'm trying to say is it's really important because I took pictures right away when I saw what he was going to do. I guess it's really important that if you're in an accident and you're not hurt bad, that you take pictures. Is that correct?
Yeah, a picture speaks 1,000 words. It's important to get pictures not just of your car, but of the other car involved. Because we've had instances, Steve, where a client comes in and they're rear-ended and they have a bigger car, say, than the car behind them that hit them. And you look at the bumper and there's a bend, a little bit of a bend in or dent or scratch. And the insurance companies are notorious for saying, well, that you could barely see any damage to your vehicle. How is it that your client is hurt? But then you see the picture of the person that caused the accident, his or her vehicle, and his entire hood is up to the windshield. And so there's substantial damage to that vehicle, showing the forces involved, not just judging it by the scratches on the back of a Tahoe versus the crumpled hood on the front of, say, a Mitsubishi sedan. So, pictures are very, very important. If there's skid marks in the road, take pictures of the skid marks, take pictures of your vehicle, take pictures of the other person's vehicle. Pictures are everything.
I don't know if you interview potential clients when it comes to it. I just don't grasp why a person would try to handle a case themselves, because a lot of people don't even know how you charge. That you charge on a contingency basis. So when they come to your office, they don't have to write you a check at that time. And it just seems like having an attorney at least levels the playing field. And I'm just curious, why would someone try to handle it themselves?
Well, I think Steve, what happens is people think that what happens is they get into an accident and then they speak to the other insurance company. The other insurance company is notorious these days for having some employees field reps on the road. So you'll see these little cars that say Geico and there's somebody driving. Yeah. That person is running from house to house to house to house trying to settle cases for people. Progressive does that as well. And so I think people who are involved in an accident oftentimes fall into this false sense of security that the other insurance company is really trying to help them. Oh, there was some on the phone. They're so nice on the phone. This person from Geico called me and they were like, look, whatever you need, you're going to have some of your medical bills aren't going to be covered because your PIP is only going to cover 80%. We'd love to pay you now for the 20% that you're going to owe. So, we'd love to write you a check right now for, $2,000 or $2,500. Meanwhile, they're like, oh, our clients that eventually become our clients are like, they were so nice on the phone. I trusted them. They seemed like they really wanted to help me. Meanwhile, of course, the check for $2,000 or $2,500, from whatever insurance company it is, I'm not pointing to anyone in particular, but it says on the bottom, full and final settlement. So people feel like, they can handle it themselves, that the person on the other line through the insurance company is an honest person, is being nice, is trying to help them. And that's usually really not the case.
And to add to that, Angela, I think there's also that fraction of people that feel, why should I ultimately pay an attorney's fee if I could get money up front now? But there's an old saying, penny wise and dollar foolish. So would you rather have $2,500 in your pocket now and not pay an attorney's fee, or pay the third attorney's fee on $100,000 and be able to net a whole bunch more in your pocket than the initial $2,500 if you have the injuries to support that claim?
I think by having an attorney, because these insurance companies are very good at what they do, and I think that it's so important that if you try to handle it yourself, you could actually say the wrong thing. And I think that's probably what they're hoping anyway. But when you have an attorney, it really makes a huge difference than trying to handle it yourself.
That's absolutely true. I had a case years ago, a wonderful lady who was probably, I think at the time in her 50s, and an insurance company had offered her $40,000. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
When she came in to see me, I was like, wow, that's way the most that I've ever seen that an insurance company offered somebody that was unrepresented. And ultimately, her case ended up settling for $340,000 through me. I wasn't working with Lauren at the time. What I did, and I thought was fair, which a lot of attorneys wouldn't do, is that I waived the fee on the first $40,000 because she had been able to get that $40,000 offer herself, and I just didn't think it was fair that I took a third of that. And so she was incredibly grateful, and she was compensated for the true value of her injuries, because she was never the same. She was going to live the rest of her life in pain. And when you're in your 50s, you're approaching your 60s, and then your 70s, every day is an important one, and you should be able to live it without being in pain because somebody else was careless. So she was real happy, and that was a real good result.
Angela, I got to tell you something. That was very impressive. I was a sports agent for a long time, and players are guaranteed a certain amount of money, whether they have an agent or not. And I never charged on the part that they were guaranteed, whereas most agents do, just like most attorneys would have charged them on the $1,000. So I got to tell you, I'm very impressed, because you didn't have to do that.
No, I didn't. But it was the right thing to do. It was the right thing to do.
I hope people who are listening right now realize that, because you do have a lot of choices. Let's give everybody your phone number and your website address. I had someone ask me what your website address was, and let's give it to everybody now.
Phone number is 727-937-3171. And the website is www.zervosinjurylaw.com.
Hey, Lauren, what if someone is in an accident or they slip and fall over the weekend? What do they do?
They reach out to us. We answer calls weekday, weekends, during the day, during the evening. We're on call. You may not get a return call at 2:30 in the morning.
Right.
That one when one of us is up at probably 6:37 in the morning on a weekend.
But they will have some sort of access to you on the
Always.
weekend, because
The
accidents
difference-
always happen when you don't expect them.
But
Yeah.
you know what,
And-
Steve? The difference, Steve, is that they're not going to get some runner calling them or some secretary from our office. They're going to get me, or they're going to get Lauren. They're going to speak to us on the phone. I can't tell you how many times when we call back, when we get a message from our answering service after hours, and the potential client's on the phone and they say, "Oh, I'd like to speak with the attorney." And I say, "This is." And they say, "Oh my God, I didn't expect to talk to you. Thank you so much." I mean, that's why they're calling. So they should be able to speak to an attorney.
And we've been doing the show long enough to know that customer service is very important to your firm.
It is. People deserve to be treated with respect. And if you're going to an attorney to get a legal opinion, like Angela said, you should speak with the attorney, not a case manager, not a secretary, not a receptionist, not an investigator. You need to speak with a lawyer. And you always will at Zervos and Calta. You'll either speak with myself or Angela.
Well, you're with us twice a month. You're going to be back again because of Christmas comes out on a Monday this year. You're going to be back with us again next week.
Woohoo!
And next week, we're going to start promoting that we're going to take your questions through text, and we hopefully will get them on the air. But I wanted to pre-warn the ladies that we're going to start taking questions now. I think it's time. We've got enough questions. So we'll be doing a lot of different areas of personal injury starting next Monday.
We're
Great.
ready, Steve.
Looking forward to it.
We do that a lot in our markets, other markets, and it really works out well. And plus, people love hearing their name on the radio too. So you'll be back with us next week, and let's give everybody your phone number again and your website.
727-937-3171 and www.zervosinjurylaw.com.
This is really funny. I got these two beautiful women on the TV set who are bulldogs. I mean, and this is what you want in an attorney especially when you've got any kind of injuries involved. Ladies, thank you so much. We'll
Thank
see
you,
you
Steve.
next week.
Yes, you will.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks,
Have a great
ladies.
week.
You
Looking
too.
forward to next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. They are so good. The name of the firm is Zervos and Calta. Again, they're personal injury attorneys. We will be back with you next Monday. We're going to do we'll probably get into some other areas of personal injury. You can text us at 954-336-3767 if you've got a question you would like the ladies to answer. Everybody have a wonderful week. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.